As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be.
Oh man, it's 8 o'clock.
And so that'll make it a.
I don't need the spotlight. I shine just fine.
Hi, I'm Karma, and yes, I am a bitch.
Brav Bros. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Brav Bros, your favorite podcast from the bros for everybody, for whoever wants to listen. I am your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only Summer McGummas.
I don't know why I don't like that.
I don't love it. I don't love it, but I also love it.
Gummas.
Summer Gummas. Summer McGummas. What's up, dude?
Not much. Really tired.
CP boys.
CP boys, but look, we've got a quick week here because it is the 4th. People are going to be traveling. We'll be traveling. Actually, I don't even know if you're traveling, but I assume you are.
Going Poconos.
Going Pocono. We're going opposite directions here in altitude.
Mountains. I'm going high sea level.
Yep.
You're going below sea level.
What?
Yeah, I'm going to kill you.
The way I feel right now, I would invite it. But yeah, so we're traveling this week. We know you're traveling this week, so we want to make sure that we get all our stuff out so you guys have plenty of stuff to listen to and you're not going to be bored.
No.
Because you can't be bored listening to us.
We're getting 4 episodes out within the next 72 hours. And then if you are a member, 4. You're saying 3, but it's actually 4 because
Double.
House of the Dragon is going to be split into 2. That's 4, big boy. And if you are a Brav Bros member, you will have 5 episodes to listen to because this week begins our exclusive rom-com recaps. Our bromance episodes are finally upon us, and we are starting out with arguably one of the better rom-coms ever made, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Kate Hudson, Rom Conahey, phenomenal cast, phenomenal flick. We're really excited to jump into it. If you have not signed up yet, the link is in our bio. $5 for the month, $50 for the year. Do not miss out because these episodes are going to be great. But other than that, how are you feeling? Are you recovered yet?
No, hell no.
Not even close?
No. I had a wedding this past weekend for my cousin. Shout out Connor and Emily. Great time. Went to Cleveland. Started laying some seeds for the Real Housewives of Cleveland.
Oh boy.
As you guys know, that is one of my pipe dreams, if you will.
That's why he wanted to start the podcast. I was like, hey, do you want to do this? And he's like, yes, but only because I want to lobby for our Real Housewives of Cleveland.
Yes, for sure. So I was doing that this weekend and got home yesterday, and I am very tired. But look, I get to go to the beach on Wednesday, so I will be laying on the beach. Little rest, recovery.
R&R.
R&R.
Yeah, it's called R&R.
That's where we're going with that. And yeah, we got a little rom-com action this week, and I've been thinking a lot about the rom-com stuff. I am going to have to incorporate some sort of rating scale.
Oh, yeah. We need a rating scale.
We have to do a rating scale. We will do the ratings at the end of the episode. So we will go through everything, all of our favorite parts of the rom-com, the people that showed up the most, the best funny moments, the best loving moments, of course. And then at the end, we will give our unbiased opinion on a rating.
What should we call a rating scale?
We'll have to figure that out. I'm not feeling creative right now, but I will get a good night's sleep tonight, and I will have a good name for you tomorrow.
Yeah, I need to not do it now either because I'll say a stupid pun and it won't work.
But we're gonna be fair with these. We're not just gonna give these things like 9.5 out of 10s.
No,
just because we had a good time.
Right.
We're gonna have to make sure. And look, it's gonna be different than other movies. We can't put rom-coms on the same scale as, say, Dune 2.
It's a different scope.
It's a different scope. So we're going to have to do everything together and figure it all out. So look forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're actually going to tease it a little bit. We're going to throw Hitman out there. So if you haven't watched Hitman on Netflix yet with Glenn Powell, go ahead and do that because we'll have a little review for you later in the week. But for now, we do need to get into Jersey.
Yes, it is RHONJ time. And my gosh, I'm fed up. And I know our listeners are probably tired of me saying negative things about Jersey.
Yeah, it's so funny how much we've changed.
I know.
Now I'm like, whatever. It was, not a whole lot happened, but it wasn't terrible.
On the scale of this season, yeah, this was a fine episode. Last week was a fine episode. It's just the recurring tropes over and over again are so exhausting to me. The fact that everyone falls for the same shit. The fact that Fessler, who I was so big on last year, is apparently not as cool as I thought she was. That's driving me nuts. She just believes anybody. Anybody says anything to her, and Fessler's like, okay, got it. Sounds good. That doesn't make any sense to me, so that's frustrating to me. I actually paused this episode midway through to take a breather. True story.
A real breather?
Real breather. I told
No.
Dev, I was like, I need a sec. I paused it and I posted that reel of you talking about Jen Aydin,
Yeah.
and I went back and watched the rest. That's the level I've gotten to with this show.
Wait a minute, hold on. You needed a breather. So
That was
you
my
went
retaliation.
to edit content about the show that you needed the breather from?
Can I tell you why?
Why?
So Jen Aydin was pissing me off
Yeah.
on the screen, and I was like, I need a sec. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to clap back. And that was my method, was to make a reel. And that's the other thing.
She's
too.
ruining my night. I need to go
She's
try to
just
ruin
taking
hers.
up real estate in my head, and that sucks for me because I don't like anyone to take up real estate in my head. And it's just watching her spin a narrative, and then everyone's like, no matter what Teresa or Jen do, you're anti both of them. I'm really not. I don't have a vendetta against anybody personally. I just get really annoyed when you're watching somebody lie quite clearly and spin their story, change their story from episode to episode. There's no continuity. There's no logic involved. And you know me, and I say it a lot, when I can't apply logic, I get flustered.
Yeah.
And so I got flustered.
You can't apply logic to stupid, though. Stupid always trumps logic.
Oh, I know. I know that. Yeah, you can't reason with stupid. Like, there's a lot of sayings, a lot of tropes out there, which I try to live by. But unfortunately, again, as you know me, those are the things that really get under my skin, really grab my gear, really grinds my gear. And my gear hadn't been ground in a while, sir.
Yeah.
And it done been ground. And
Well,
I've done be
I
mad.
do have good news for you, at least. Somebody did, I forget if I saw a
13
comment.
episodes.
Yep.
Yep.
There's only a couple episodes left. Let's not fucking worry about it.
Way ahead of you. And then we got to watch a fucking quote-unquote reunion
Oh,
of them
Jesus
watching the last
Christ.
scene in separate rooms. Just fucking bag it
At
already.
Rails.
At Rails. Just bag the goddamn show. Like, they can
Wait,
do
I
better.
do have a question, though. They're going to be at separate rooms in the same restaurant?
Apparently, yeah. That's the
Isn't that the restaurant that the whole meltdown happens at the end of the season, too? Or-
allegedly, yeah. Here's the thing.
This is all a fucking scam, isn't it?
Totally. For Rails.
All right.
Rails paid a lot of money for this. No. What I would love to happen, though, is if you have two parties in the same restaurant and they're watching the same clip and they get heated again, and then you just have a battle where they meet in the middle of the restaurant.
That'd be fun.
And Rails has to close down for a while because they have to repair.
Everybody's armed with one plastic cup.
You get one
That's all
plastic
you get.
cup. That's all you get. Or you get one table flip in somebody's general direction.
Okay.
One or the other. You don't get both.
Tomatoes.
Ooh, I'm down for
Some
that.
tomatoes, yeah.
Tomato fight? That could
Yeah.
actually make everything better.
Why do people not do that anymore? Like, what happened to a good old-fashioned boo fest and throw in tomatoes?
When do you think the tomatoes went out of style?
It's probably an old thing.
I think it's like back in
Rotten
the Shakespearean
tomatoes.
days.
Literally, that's the...
They would throw rotten food on stage. I know that, but I would love to know. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Did you just...
That just clicked.
Yep, there you go.
That's why it's called Rotten Tomatoes.
Uh-huh.
Holy shit.
Yep.
I feel better now. Thank
Good.
you for that.
Good. You're welcome. Yeah.
Did you know that, or did you just
I
put that together?
just pieced it together,
Okay,
but I
good.
didn't want to make a big
Don't
deal
sit there
about
and
it.
act like it. Okay.
Well, I mean, I found out 5 seconds before you did.
Give you credit. You unearthed it.
I knew first.
But whoa, my head just exploded. And now I'm in a better mood.
There
This
you go.
is how
Good
it
job.
works. All right.
job.
And we're back, baby.
Yeah, knock those cobwebs off, you know?
Yeah, shake it off. Let's talk
to,
about some fucking RHONJ. I actually had something to say involving that earlier, but I forget.
Oh, well, you'll think of it.
Anyway, let's get to some RHONJ, and we start out with Teresa and Louie, and Gia's headed to Michigan, and they're just, the whole episode is leading up to, I don't even know, this Boujie Kidz party, but everyone is just recapping their take from the fight the other night. Or I guess it was the night before, but Teresa conveniently missed the whole thing. However, I'll give her credit. They do have a slow motion of her actually turning as Jen made contact. So if she turned around to see the cup, I don't know when she caught on to what was going on. I do actually appreciate that she is trying her best to stay neutral. Surprising, but I appreciate that she's not just like Team Jen Aydin right out of the gate.
Yeah, no, she is trying to stay neutral, and it did escalate, and we talked about this last week. It escalated very strangely, where
And quickly.
you can understand where the rest of us were watching. We're like, all right, nothing's going to happen. Like, yes, Danielle's in Jen's face, but Jen's kind of de-escalating a little bit. Then Danielle started to de-escalate a little bit,
Oh,
and then
quickly.
Teresa turned,
Yes.
and then Jen shoved her.
Right.
And I was like, wait a minute, why? The shove seemed misplaced. Like, Jen didn't get the reaction that she wanted from Danielle, and she needed to escalate it. So then she could be in this position this week where everybody's like, how are you? Are you okay?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And she's still, it's funny because There's people out there that are, and I did it last week. I was like, look, at least she didn't make a huge deal about it and act like she's the victim. I've changed my stance on it this week because she loves the attention. We know she loves that attention. So people coming over to her house saying, "Are you okay?" First and foremost, everything all right here? Like, no, she wants that.
She loves that. She loves the spotlight, and she loves the fact that people are catering to her now. But as people pointed out last week, and the comments were saying, because I posted 2 videos with 2 takes on the situation. People were like, you said something totally different earlier. It's like, no, I didn't. This is just going more in depth into this. My point was, you can see where both of them got escalated during this whole thing. People pointed out that Jen was actually approaching her. She passed the table. If you look at the video, if you want to do some deep sleuthing, the bottom line here is, as we said last week, you put hands on somebody, you're going to catch hands. Do I get why she got pushed for being in her face? Yes. So that's where we're at. But anyway, we move on from there and we get to Marge and Joe with some sadder news. Hopefully not sad news, but some alarming news. We find out that Joe got his results back. We need to talk, I guess. Moving on from there, we get to Danielle and Nate, and we're having a Boujie Kidz relaunch party because she's got the new collection. This is on the heels of Fashion Week, and they got a new website. They got a lot of stuff to reintroduce Boujie Kidz to the world, and everybody's invited. Obviously, Jen's not. There's not a lot from this episode that we're going to have to nitpick and break down, so there are some moments I want to stop and just ask you some questions and get to the bottom of this.
It's my favorite part of this podcast.
I know. So let's talk. With Jen and Danielle. Why has Jen set her sights on Danielle this year? What is it about her? Because for me, I don't understand why she cares so much about the Lena situation. She's not tight with Lena. I don't know why she's trying to use the Marissa thing. She's not tight with Marissa. I don't understand why she has this vendetta against Danielle. We talked about her briefly last week and the week prior. Is she jealous of Danielle? Does she feel threatened? Even if that's the case, what's your take on why she feels the need to keep going after Danielle?
It's got to be some sort of combination of the way that Teresa feels about Danielle, because we've heard Teresa talk about Danielle a couple different times, and she always says that she loves Danielle. Whereas we see her talk about somebody like Jackie, very clearly using Jackie, very clearly using other people. So this is the first time that we're really seeing Teresa open up to somebody else in the group.
Okay.
That isn't Jen. That's one of them. The other thing I think ties back to Ireland's last year, where Jen told Danielle about Melissa's infidelity or potential infidelity or whatever the rumor was, and then it led back to Jen eventually. So I think that that's part of it. That Danielle didn't take a bullet for the team. This is Team Teresa. You need to do this. Instead, it came back on me, and then it gets exacerbated at that bougie brunch, which, by the way, do we have to do something bougie every fucking episode at this point?
You know why?
Because it's the only thing going on.
There is literally nothing else happening.
No one else hosting any events?
No one else has anything going on. That's what this show's come to. So that's the other part. You wouldn't be so frustrated at Boujie Kidz popping up every week if there was other things going on alongside of it. Right. There's literally nothing. We're talking about Paulie and Dolores' business for 2 seconds.
Yeah, no, but usually there's still other things, people are hosting charity events, or Teresa had her party last week, but we still had something else go on. So I don't know, whatever. So I do think that it got to a point where it was reintroduced at the Boujie brunch, where Danielle asked in front of everybody, including Melissa, including Marge, hey, Marge wasn't there, but Marge will find out, hey, did you throw me under the bus here? Where Teresa's going to be okay because she doesn't care. Jen does care, so maybe it's that. I have no idea. Or Jen's just trying to make a name for herself, and she went for the low-hanging fruit that's Danielle, because she knows that she can get her riled up and get some sort of reaction out of her and then create a storyline for herself.
Okay.
That isn't Bill cheating on her. That's the only storyline that she ever really gets. So, yeah, I don't know.
I think that it's probably all-encompassing, but what I like about Danielle and what I think she's done a good job of this season, this is what I expected from her last season, to be able to step up, carry herself, have a good showing. Is it the best showing ever? No, but what I like about Danielle is that she doesn't back down from shit this season. She is approaching people. She kind of hung in the background for the first 4 or 5 episodes. Uh-huh. Since she's been challenged, she's not afraid of a fight, literally now, as we know, but her responding with this when she brings up the fact that, Laura was supposed to be invited, which that Jen Aydin invited Laura because she knew it would cause a bunch of shit there, and she thought that was funny, which is also nuts because that charity event wasn't on camera.
Mm-hmm.
She said, no, what are you, nuts? I'm not inviting Laura. She caused this whole thing. Her saying that this is retaliation because when she found out I wouldn't play dirty, now she's attacking my character. When she knows I'm not going to get in bed with her, now she's going to come after me. And I think that's exactly what's happening. I'm glad that Danielle called it out. I'm glad that she points it out. And that's kind of my point with her, is whether you love her or hate her. Same thing with Fuda. Whether you love her or hate her, or John Fuda, or whatever your qualms are with this season, tell me what's driving the season. Tell me who's driving the season. And this is why it's not a good season. But the driving factors this season are Jen Aydin, Rachel and John Fuda, and Danielle. No one else is doing shit.
Yeah.
Literally, Fessler's a mess. Marge is doing the same shit Marge has always done. Teresa is checked out. Melissa is checked out. There is no show. You have the newbies, which we thought they were going to launch this into a new era. Instead, they're getting garbage time points.
Yeah, and I think Danielle feels a little more comfortable this year versus last year, because last year she was alone.
Yes.
She sort of touched in with Michelle. Jesus, who the fuck's Michelle? She sort of touched in with Melissa. She sort of touched in on the Teresa Jen side. She got burnt on that side. She was alone after dropping the whole thing about Melissa potentially cheating on Joe. And she was completely just left solo by the end of the season, wondering what the hell she has to do. This year, at least, and look, it's really for their own narratives. It's for their own storylines. But when Danielle gets in a fight with somebody like Jen, that's a big Teresa person.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, of course, Rachel Fuda and Melissa and whoever else are going to show up and be like, oh yeah, no, we're not going to deal with this. We've got you. It's like you don't really have her as a friend. You have her because she's going against your enemy.
Yeah.
So that's really all it is. And maybe Danielle is just taking that because it's the only thing that she can get at this point. But she's just taking that as quote unquote friendship. And she's allowed to keep going.
Proxy.
Friend by proxy.
Yeah.
And maybe she thinks she's close to Melissa, so she feels like she has some sort of safe background if she is going after Jen, because she still has a friend in Melissa.
But she's not going after Jen. Jen went
She's
after
not.
her.
Jen
She's
went after
defending
her.
herself.
But she's standing up for herself, which she did last year, but then she was left alone.
Yeah,
This year,
right.
other people are coming over to say, are you okay?
Gotcha.
Which is at least a little different. And look, they're using it for their own thing.
Yeah, and she's definitely using the season just to capitalize with Boujie Kidz. And hey, do your thing.
Think?
The season's going to tank. At least get your money out of it. But we move on to Polly and Dolores, and they are planning the business out. We still don't know much about it. They have an office. They have computers. And it's an electrical company.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if it's corporate. I don't know if it's commercial. I don't know if it's residential. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
all encompassing.
Uh-huh.
Electricity.
Electricity.
That's it.
There's IT people.
They have IT people and electricity.
Uh-huh. Computers.
They're killing it.
Bulbs.
Lots of bulbs.
Mhm.
Maybe some LEDs.
Calling in.
Phone lines.
Mm-hmm.
We could do this for a while. We should
Yep.
probably move on.
Yeah, we should stop.
We should definitely stop.
We just listed things that it could be. At least we're getting more out of us than we get there.
We don't know what's going on.
No idea.
But Fuda FaceTimes, and she's at a arthritis support group that she started because she's been dealing with arthritis her whole life, juvenile arthritis. So it was interesting to me and kind of cool to put a face to everything. Like there's younger people there that also have to deal with this every day because it's not something you hear about a lot.
Yeah.
So I did like that they took that time to show support for that and for a cause. So we like to shout that out anytime we see it. So I did like that part. But as they're discussing, of course, there was a blog leak the day after this shit went down with Danielle because it happened. You always like to say, we don't know about the content creators. Blah, blah, blah. This is a exact moment where Jen Aydin reached out to probably 3 that I can list off the top of my head. And they put it out there the next day, which is just nuts.
Which also is probably why she wanted Laura to go to that charity event so that she could then say, all of this happens. Let me tell my content creators.
100%.
Yeah, she just creates all this stuff to get some more buzz about Jen Aydin.
But no, still nobody's talking about her.
The only thing that she's missing on, which she could learn from Teresa, you want Aydin Plastics out there. Wear some Aydin Plastics shirts.
Oh, you do need... I love,
Come
by the way,
on.
that you continue to call it Aydin Plastics.
Yeah.
As though it's a plastic company.
It's a plastic company.
It makes me... You say it when we're not recording.
Yeah.
You just call it Aydin Plastics.
I don't give a shit. Yeah. The hell do I care?
But anyway, you get Joe and Melissa at Nick's wedding, and not much happened here. I will say Joe's sentiment when he was, Father Joe, speaking to the the wedding party. I thought it was actually very sweet. That was a nice moment. Ruined very shortly after with his confessional, where he once again does the whole thing where my inherited family is best. They are the best inherited family. I don't need my real family because this family's the shit.
Dude, they all do it. It's
They
so
all
annoying.
do it.
We pointed out every time, too. Teresa and Louis do the same thing. They walk
Love,
into
love,
a room.
love, love, love.
Look at my beautiful family. Melissa did it when she walked into the back room at the wedding. Check out my beautiful family. I thought that this was just an opportunity for everybody on screen to say how much Joe loves his family and how much they love him.
Yep.
That's all it is.
Yeah. I
He's
don't want to
gonna
take
do it.
away from Nick and, was it Mike? Nick and Mike's
I
wedding?
think it was Mike, yeah.
I don't want to take away from their wedding. That's a beautiful thing. Congrats, guys. Big congrats from the bros.
You know that he's going to use his speech up there to further some sort of narrative about
Yeah.
Teresa.
Or at least very shortly after with his confession.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sick of that. This is where I told you I'm starting to get frustrated. I think I can pinpoint. Fuck. You want to see where I got frustrated?
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
You can physically see
Your
it.
pen stopped working too?
My pen stopped working. and it was
Yeah.
It was a comedy of
snowball.
errors. Snowball. If you were here right now, I'll try to show it to the YouTube thing. There's a dent in my journal because my pen stopped working. I did one of those moves. You know, you slam it and just scrape it. So this is where I took my breather. But anywho, moving on, we get to Jen, Teresa, and Fessler and the fight recap. And Jen Aydin was initially in shock. She was shocked and appalled by this whole thing. What actually happened is she got punked and was embarrassed. That's the blood coming out of her face that Fessler referred to when she stood there kind of stunned. That's because you didn't expect that shit to happen.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you get punked. You're like, oh my God, wait, hold on. I got to regroup. That's embarrassing. Take a breath. That's what happened. It wasn't that she was shocked that she was just the
We got to be careful about our terminology here. There's clocking, there's punching, there's a lot of...
Did you get clocked or popped?
Dude, fuck. I have no idea.
You got pop, locked, and dropped.
Pop, there you go.
Boom.
That works.
You like that?
Yep.
But she says, my reaction was a reflex to defend myself. And again, we've said that I understand the push, but that was an aggressor move. That was an aggressor. When you initiate contact, you can't be on the defense. And I can't wait for the Webster's Dictionary definitions to be thrown at us for this one, but you can't. If you push first, and that was a heavy push, you can't
Yeah, that's the thing. We would actually probably be... Yeah, obviously Jen was lying and like making things up, which... I don't know how you're watching that and not realizing that she's just twisting all of Danielle's words to make her look terrible. And if you're going to accuse somebody of stealing from charity, that's insane. At least to have a backbone to defend yourself afterwards and say,
like, they're getting
I
away-
did say that.
Yeah, like she didn't say stealing from.
But she said that you paid yourself for your time, and she keeps going on about this, which we have not seen Danielle say or anybody else say. So I don't think that happened.
It did.
If she had just, turned a little bit and like put her arm up to push away from Danielle while she walked away, and then Danielle did it, then yeah, Danielle's way in the wrong. Because Jen is just trying to get out of there, trying to get her personal space back, whatever you want to say. But we talked about it. Everything was kind of dying down, and then Jen shoved. That was a shove, not a push.
That was a shove. Oh, yeah. We're doing
Terminology.
that. Terminology.
That was a shove. She shoved. You got what you got. That's what happened.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Was one a little higher than the other? Yeah, for sure. But you still did.
Once you initiate contact, it's fair game. That's what other people kept saying.
Yeah.
That's not the same thing to him. If you touch me, I'm going to fuck you up.
Yep.
Period. There's no in between there. What happens after you lay hands on somebody is your own doing. Anywho, back to Jen, Teresa, and Fessler. And she, like, as you said, she tries to talk about the charity shit again. She was the extension lady again. And none of this was an issue prior. But the thing that drove me nuts about this scene is every single little story she's webbing together, Fessler's like, oh my God, she would do that? It's like, no, dude, use your head.
Yeah, she's
What do
not
you-
asking real questions. She's immediately agreeing with Jen.
She didn't, not one time was she like, wait, what? She's like, oh my God, she's a horrible person. It's like, dude,
No.
think.
Yeah.
So that really disappointed me. And then she has the balls to say, I've been trying so hard to give her the benefit of the doubt. When?
Oh, that was it? That's
Just
the end?
when.
That's a good question.
I just need to know.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't either.
Uh-uh.
This is where I get flustered.
It's not benefit of the doubt when you're the one bringing up issues.
You keep bringing up issues.
If somebody else was talking about it, if you were Fessler in this situation, Fessler could give Danielle the benefit of the doubt.
She's not doing it.
You can't give someone the benefit of the doubt by asking them questions like that and accusing them of doing stuff.
Right.
That's the opposite of benefit of the doubt.
That's lack of doubt.
It's accusatory. Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Right?
Well,
Guys?
I think we nailed it.
Guys?
You guys
Right?
get it. Yeah, our audience is smart. They understand where we're coming from. Or we've dumbed you guys down to understand when we ramble.
Yeah.
That's a scarier
That's a
thought.
good one.
Oh, boy. Thanks for listening. But anyway, Jen's disappointed with Teresa because she said Teresa is playing neutral and down the middle. This is one interesting thing that could come from this.
Uh-huh.
Because I was actually surprised that she kept going. I thought that she would be a little more, I'm a little bummed out that Teresa's siding or kind of staying Switzerland here, but it's okay. No, she's going with I thought she'd be more of a loyal friend than that. I'm like, ooh, are we seeing a fracture here? Because that would be wonderful.
That would be lovely.
It would.
We could see a bit of a fracture there because Teresa's maintaining this. I didn't see it. I turned my head for a second. It escalated and I was shocked, but I'm still not really sure what happened. It's weird to watch Fessler sit there, who is a quote unquote neutral party who's able to float between the two groups of friends. This time you're not. This time you're taking the role of standing up for Jen for no reason and just blindly listening to everything that she's saying. Teresa making this a very, well, let's see what Danielle has to say situation is shocking to everyone.
I'm glad.
And I expected the same thing that you did from Jen, to maybe take a step back and be like, whoa, maybe we stop talking about this. I don't want to piss Teresa off, so I'm going to stop talking about this. Instead, Jen just kept going. She's drunk with power right now. She feels like she's the victim, and she's going to keep going because people keep talking to her about it. So she feels like the main character, and she is not and never has been the main character and never will be the main character.
It just cracks me up because the scene ends with her bringing back a moment when they were screaming in the back of Fessler's house. And she was like, remember when she said that you would never love me more than her? Well, look at it now. I'm like, dude, you are a grown-ass woman.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah.
This is how much she needs that seal of approval, the validation. Like, you want her to flat out say, I love you more than Marge. And you will not be happy until those exact words come out of her mouth. I told you, tell me you love me. Tell me you love me. Please. Bill?
Can you put it in writing?
Oh, God. Moving on to Marge. And we're getting Jackie's book in the mail. And she expects a handwritten letter. This is where Marge just fishes for shit. She's fishing for reasons here. She can't even send me a handwritten note. This is just a generalized note she sent to everybody with the book. This is ridiculous. This sentence right here, I would love if one of our listeners, if you are a RHONJ like diehard, if you could go back and find out how many times Marge has uttered the words, blank showed me her true colors. Because here she says it again, Jackie, she just showed me her true colors. If you come to find out that everybody in your life at some point shows you their true colors and they are not to your liking, maybe it's time to look in the mirror and understand the common denominator.
Maybe. I don't know why the fuck Jackie sent Marge the book.
I would
Why are you going to send Marge the book at this point? Come on.
I would imagine there was a list of, after like the exclusive ones, there's probably like a pre-list of like, all right, let's
take her off the list.
But Jackie's also vying for a spot. She wants to be relevant. And I think in her head, if that was a move, I really don't think it was. I think that was an oversight where it's like, yeah, the list is already made, send it out. I think, honestly, if that was a move, that was her being like, hey, you had nothing on me, Marge. Here's the book. Puh.
I guess. Yeah, I would have taken her off the list and be like, no, she's still not getting the damn book.
I don't know. But we get some alarming news. And to take it to a more serious note, as we talked about last week, Joe's PSA levels were up, which is indicative of prostate cancer. So my first major issue, we need to talk to doctors and tell them to call their patients.
For the love of God, please.
Stop making your patients wait on cancer diagnosis. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Like, that's unacceptable that they have to be calling. This happened with Jesse Solomon in Summerhouse. You don't need to force your patients to call you and then talk to a guy that doesn't know what's going on. It's I don't know if he's a nurse or a nurse practitioner, but this dude answers the phone. He's like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
I'm just reading what's in front of me.
Yeah. Can I talk to the doctor? Oh, I guess. This is a very serious thing. And I'm sick of patients having to call and find out when you have the results.
Yeah.
Call your patients.
Yep.
It's frustrating, but it comes back as abnormal. His levels are up from 20 to 70. There is a object. There's something on his, or no. They want to do a scan with an MRI to see if there is something there. So the good news here, the silver lining of all of this is if it does in fact turn out to be prostate cancer, they caught it extremely early, which means it's more than likely treatable, which means Joe should be okay. Fingers crossed that it's not a cancer diagnosis, but I'm sure we'll find out next week or later on in the season. But prayers up for Joe Benigno. But we move on. Then we get to Danielle, and this is the Boujie Kidz event. But moving on, we get to Danielle, and it's the Boujie Kidz event, and her dad was going to come. He got sick, potentially COVID. I don't know if I buy it.
I don't know if I buy it, but I do like Danielle's response to it.
I'm
just going to keep
forward.
plugging along plugging along and inviting him to things and trying to see him. That's, I feel like, the appropriate response. Not getting in the middle of people's families, but yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's the appropriate response. And on top of that, I think the rest of the cast could take a note there where it's like, hey, if one olive branch doesn't work, maybe don't burn the whole house down.
Yeah.
Maybe try to
It's
soldier
way
on.
too late for that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, obviously. I'm talking about years prior.
Yeah.
Like one slight against your family, maybe it's not reason to tear apart a whole family.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe. Perhaps. Maybe we'll have our own falling out someday and we can figure out how to come back together.
We can.
We always will.
I'm going to burn something down, though.
Yeah, well, don't touch my garden, though.
No.
Sorry, I was looking at it through the window
Nothing of
right now.
yours.
Oh,
Just
okay.
burn something down, you know?
Okay. Yeah. We
Why
can
not?
burn it down together, and that's how we come back together.
Okay, yeah.
Arson.
Arsonists, boys.
The arson bros. We're taking some left turns here.
Yep.
But anywho, Fuda arrives and Fessler arrives, and once again, we're recapping the night prior with the fight that happened. And Fuda points out that the narrative online is ridiculous. They're talking about glasses being broken and thrown at people, which is not what happened, but Danielle goes in the explanation once again of, look, she was accusing me of stealing from a charity. She was challenging my character. She's challenging my moral compass, pretty much everything about me, which is disgusting behavior, which I agree with. If somebody's going to try to tear down your character because they simply don't like you or are threatened by you or are jealous of your friendship with their friend, that's insane. That's not a good move by any means, so I get why she's upset. Fuda points out the multiple accusations that she's put against her, which is now Marissa, Lena, stealing from a charity, the step and repeat, and if you put those on paper, once again, we talked about this earlier, why the fuck does Jen care? It makes no sense. None of these things involve her, so I don't know why she's so up in arms
She's
about
just
it.
trying to find out Danielle's true colors.
Oh, she's pulling a Marge.
Yeah.
She wants to get down to the the
See,
brass
these sides
tacks.
aren't so different.
They're not. If you want to break that down,
That's
they're
actually,
really, truly
That's
not.
way more interesting than most of these episodes.
I agree.
Let's talk about how both sides are the same.
They're literally the same people. This whole cast is the same, and they just don't know it.
Yeah.
But that's there. We fixed it. The end.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. See you at Rails.
Yep. See you at Rails. No, but Fessler's standing there, and she points out, and this is my big issue with Fessler this season. One is she's quick to believe anybody about anything, but two, and this is going to play later when she gets involved with the John Fuda and Gia thing. Why does she have to be in everything?
I have no idea because we saw a Fessler that was very different last year and even earlier this year where she wasn't doing this weird shit, where she wasn't defending people to other people. She was just doing that, like, I'm friends with Marge, I'm going to walk away.
Right.
She's actively defending people now for no reason, seemingly.
On both sides.
On both sides, yeah. You're mixing it up with everyone. I don't think it's even her trying to get more screen time, which usually we would accuse people of doing, because she is genuinely getting flustered.
Fessler's getting flustered.
Maybe she is trying to get more screen time, but she doesn't know how to handle it.
That's what I think. So here's my theory.
Okay.
And we don't like to bring producers in, but my theory is maybe she wants a full-time role because look, she did get the Housewives makeover in between seasons.
She has been
said
complaining about
that.
not being as rich as everybody else.
Yes, she has.
Every episode.
So my thing with her is maybe they said, look, if you want to be a full-time housewife, you got to mix it up more. You got to get involved. You can't keep playing neutral. You can't keep backing down. Maybe this is her way to do it, but The issue with being neutral and wanting to get involved is this is what happens. Now both sides are like, dude, fuck you. And you also are believing everything that everybody's saying.
That's what Danielle did last year.
And it did not work out.
No.
She ended up on an island, and it was not a fun time. So Fessler, it's a dangerous game that she's playing, and she jumps in here and says, you know that you were both a part of what happened. Which, to a certain extent, yeah, okay.
Sure, okay.
Fine, I agree with that. But my whole thing there is, why now? Why do you feel the need to throw that out there at her event, mind you, and knowing that she's not going to take it well? And she says to her, dude, it sounds like you have Jen's back. She's like, oh, I do have Jen's back. It's like, well, don't say that right now. If you want to be friends with everybody, like you're poking the bear in weird spots. This doesn't make sense. I don't get your tactics.
No, it doesn't really make any sense at all. I don't understand why she has Jen's back. She's the very much the atypical, a friend to everybody is a friend to no one.
Mm-hmm.
Except now she, for whatever reason, has circled Jen as a trustworthy friend that she wants to have her back.
This has made me question everything about Fessler.
Yeah, it really has too. And she cannot handle this because as soon as people go back at her, she does not know what to do.
She gets
very flustered and then runs away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what she continues to do. So going to Danielle's event, accusing her of escalating the situation, saying that you have Jen's back, who's not invited. Jen is not here. And worst of all for me is you just sat down with Jen and Teresa.
Yeah.
You should have Teresa pegged as I need to be friends with her if I want to stay on this show. You just watched Teresa turn a blind eye and say, you know what? I'm staying neutral on this because I want you guys to hash it out and figure it out. Get on her side and say, hey, Danielle, look, I know that was fucking crazy. I don't know if Jen meant all those things that she was saying, but maybe you guys do need to sit down if you can. Whatever. That's what Teresa would want to do. Teresa's here right now. You can just jump on her side because you know she's going to turn a blind eye to it. You know she's going to talk about like, yeah, you were both in the wrong, but I don't really know. Maybe you guys just need to hash it out. Why are you taking Jen's side when she's not there? You have no backup. Teresa's not going to back you up, and that's who you need to back you up.
Nobody there's.
So it was really a weird move. It makes no sense. It was a shit move, actually.
It was a bad move. Yeah. Go hold on to Teresa's pocket and let her speak, and just nod your head and say, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But anyway, Teresa arrives, and this is a bad move by Fuda. When the big bad wolf comes a knocking, don't you run away.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk all that shit, you got to stand up to her. Teresa walks in, and immediately Fuda bounces, and Teresa still, I appreciate this move from Teresa, and I'll give her credit when credit's due. Like, she's still not jumping to either side.
Yeah.
She's saying, I don't know Jen to make up stories. I don't think she's evil. This is where she falters for me. If you want to talk about evil, let's talk about Marge. It's like, stop it. You're so obsessed with Marge. Like, why is this about Marge?
Yeah.
This is about Jen and Danielle, not about Marge. But regardless, Melissa then shows up, and we get a side conversation between Fessler and Teresa, and Fessler says that Danielle's mad at her. And we get a conversation between Fessler and Teresa, and Fessler said that Danielle's now mad at me. And she tries to use the trope of, look, everyone says awful, terrible things about everybody. Show me when Danielle's done that, honestly, especially about Jen Aydin. Up until, obviously, the last week or so, they got in a physical altercation, so things have been said since. Show me a point last season or this season when she has been on that train of just saying horrible, hurtful things, because I don't remember that.
She doesn't do it. She only does it if you go after her,
right,
or her family, or one of her friends, or whatever you might be doing. So if you're talking about her family issues, where she doesn't talk to her brother, yeah, she's going to get upset about that. But she's not doing what Jen does, which is, for some reason, I don't like this person, and I'm going to talk shit about them.
Right.
And I'm going to do it under the guise of, aren't my impersonations really funny, guys? But really, I'm just being really hurtful and mean.
Yeah, and you can point to a lot of people on the show that do that.
Most
Marge
of them,
does that. Fuda does that. Teresa does that. Both sides of the street. Melissa, Danielle, I would argue, is the one that does not do that.
Yeah.
Or has not up until this point.
Yeah, so I don't understand, too, why you would go after someone whose emotions are still running really high. I mean, what is this, a week later maybe?
Not
even, a couple of days. Why would you go over and say, yeah, I do have Jen's back?
I don't know.
And then not expect to catch some heat for it.
No clue.
Like, what, do you think that, we've seen you do this, you think that you can just play Switzerland and be the person that people talk to and get information from? Every time that Fessler has done that this year, she gets herself in hot water.
Yep.
stop doing it.
Well, you see it.
Or at least don't complain about it when something happens to you.
That's my point. I was going to say, you see it finally boil over in this episode. And before we get there, Gia jumps into the mix and asks Fessler about the cocaine thing that John Fuda said the other day.
Who do you think, but I want to ask you, who do you think the leak was? Who told Teresa?
About John saying
That
it?
John said that. It's all
It was
dudes out there.
Fessler's husband. Fessler's husband said it to
husband
Fessler.
told it.
Fessler, yeah, that
Okay.
was the line.
All right.
That was where we got the connection from.
And
But
then Fessler's like, why am I involved?
because your fucking husband can't shut up. You blame him.
God.
But look, we can all agree here that while the accusation, it was not accusatory, like John Fuda wasn't saying that. He was bringing up to, draw comparisons. However, he should never have done that.
No, and also the edit was not true.
No.
The way they edited it for this episode did not match up to how it was said at the
Agreed.
party.
Yeah.
He brought up specifically Jackie talking about Gia, which makes Bravo play that clip, which again, now Gia's 21, 22 years old. She's a lawyer. Do you think that she wants people to talk about that clip? And it wasn't even, if for those of us who remember 3 years ago when Jackie threw that out there, Jackie wasn't even accusing Gia of doing coke. She was saying it's like if somebody did that.
Correct.
Which is, again, really fucking dumb and awful. But why would Gia want that to keep coming up? So yes, of course, if it comes back to her, she's going to stand up and say, why are people talking about me still? Why are we still talking about this? I'm an adult and I have a profession now. I can't keep dealing with this shit.
And we agree 100%. Like, that was bullshit that he brought it up. This is where Fessler does herself no favor. She jumps in to defend John. She takes it upon herself to uphold the Fuda honor when Fuda has said, don't get involved. Just stay out of it. So this is Fessler's biggest issue of trying to play both sides, that she wants to play both sides.
Yeah.
She's trying to jump in. Just sit back. Let them hash it out. But the flip side of that, I will say, knowing Fuda or watching Fuda this season especially, if she watches that clip back and Fessler doesn't say anything, bet me she's like, you didn't defend me. Like, it was a lose-lose for her, really. That's where this is the one moment where I'm like, all right, Fessler, walk away.
Mm-hmm.
Just remove yourself from the situation. You're not going to win this battle no matter what, but at the very least, just stop getting involved in everyone's shit. You're not involved, so stay out of it. But
I also didn't really care for the way that Fuda went about that.
no.
Like, what do you do? Like, you're huffing and puffing and running away. Like, I do agree with Fessler that you are a big baby and you just ran away.
Yeah.
But, like, what's the big deal? Your husband did say that. You can at least go defend your husband. You don't have to go start screaming and then run away, like cause a huge scene at a child's party.
That was crazy.
Weird.
And she goes, you're so obsessed with me. It's like, no, she's not.
No.
And you implying that she is makes me think that your ego is much more inflated than it needs to be. I don't think anybody's obsessed with you.
I love the layers of, I don't know if you've been on Twitter, but the layer of people defending, usually like the Teresa side, is spinning this into, wow, isn't Fuda going to feel really stupid when she watches this episode and sees that Fessler was just trying to defend her? It's like, no, she was defending her.
She knows that.
She knows that. She just doesn't want you to talk. Like, that's really funny. But you also have the other side saying, yeah, Rachel, go off on Fessler. Like, how dare she? And she's already got Jen's back. She needs to have your back, too. She was having her back. So everybody's stupid is how this works. It's a big circle Venn diagram, and everybody in the middle is just stupid. It's not I'm Teresa, I'm Marge. It's I'm stupid.
Yeah, I agree. And we got a 1-star review because we called people idiots last week.
Oh.
We stand firm.
Oh, no.
We stand firm, as Shooter just said, because when you throw logic out the window and try to defend indefensible behavior with bad arguments, that's stupid. I'm not saying that you as a person are dumb. I'm saying that was a dumb argument. In that moment, you are an idiot. Shooter,
I might be saying you're stupid, yeah.
Me, I will give you the benefit of the doubt that maybe it's a dumb moment, but no, we're not going to fall back on that. We stand firm. Anywho, back to Fessler talking to Fuda, Marge, and Melissa, and the obsessed with me thing comes out, and Marge jumps in and just says, stop campaigning. Stop campaigning. You need to just shush for a little while. You're not doing yourself any favors. Melissa starts to get riled up now, and she's like, why are you bringing it up to a child? Now she's throwing daggers at Gia, which isn't going to turn out well.
Like, Melissa saying Gia as a child is so dumb.
She's
like,
22.
And you're no longer her aunt for all intents and purposes. So stop looking at her like she's your niece. she's not. She's 22 years old. She's an adult. She's choosing to be here. And she's making the right move by saying, complete people stop talking about me.
Yeah.
Especially in that moment, because that looks terrible for me.
Right.
We get circulated. We have to talk about this, and I'm going to be a lawyer. Leave me the fuck alone. Why are we doing this still?
We've even mentioned in moments previously this season when it's like, why is Gia getting involved? In this moment right now,
Yeah.
I had zero problem.
Defending yourself, yeah.
Yeah. Like, stop talking about me doing cocaine, which now we're doing it. But we're trying to point out that everyone else needs to stop.
But
you,
we're on your side.
yeah. Just knock it off, everybody. Okay? you cut it out. But you see the wheels turning and the cogs are getting jammed, and Fessler's just like steam's coming out of her ears. She doesn't know how to handle this because now she's on an island.
Yep.
This is what happens. You can be Switzerland, you can play neutral, but you cannot get involved with every discussion. Look at Teresa right now, being neutral. She's saying, I don't want to pick a side. I don't want to pick a side. No matter what evidence she's given, she says, I don't want to pick a side. Fuck March. That's her. That's her move.
Which honestly, that might be my side.
It's okay.
It's really my side.
It's
yeah.
fine. But the last thing you need to do is keep interjecting, because this is what happens. Now you're solo dolo and you're upset and you don't have anybody to turn to, and you're just standing there at a kid's party fuming, and that's always a bad look.
Pretty much.
Let's get to some questions.
First up here from Daria_PNG, is Jen Fessler a good judge of character? No.
I don't think
She's
any of these
defending
people are.
Jen. No.
No, Fessler, I thought, this is why I was so flustered. I thought she was. I thought I knew her. And this episode, this season has completely thrown me off. No, I don't think she is.
Yeah. From Amber S1503, has there been a single episode this season that Rachel hasn't pouted and stormed off? Pretty much every interaction that she gets in. The weird Fessler thing down the shore.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no.
Pouted,
I
ran
don't think
off.
so. I don't think so. That's a good point. Astute observation. 1504 or 5? Niner? 2, 3. Keep going. Just ask a question.
From Christy A. Randall. Christy A. Crandall. Sure.
There's no way you got that right.
Maybe. Does Gia have any friends her own age? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think. Look, we've said it before. Like, there's times where she gets involved. It's like, what are you doing? This, yeah.
There's a lot of questions about Gia. Why is thirsty Gia always around? She grew up on this show. I mean, it's not even nepotism for a show like this. It's pretty much just.
She has her. She has her own show coming up.
That's nepotism.
That's nepotism.
That whole show is nepotism.
Oh yeah.
Are we gonna have to cover that?
Marks. What do you think?
No.
What if it's good?
Fuck.
What if it's a good show?
Why do we have to do this? The Valley has ruined us.
Well, we can't look. I will not be the podcast or the creators that are gonna say fuck this show out of the gate, because we want new content, right? We want good shows coming out. There's been a lot of flops. So look, if they can put together a decent show with a younger cast, I'm for it. I'm not rooting against that show.
This is actually a pretty good point from AirPick33. Am I the only one that wants a new intro for this show? They've been using the same group shot for 5 years.
Oh,
They did add like Danielle and Fuda in there.
maybe that's a cast decision. Maybe they're like, we like this one, keep using it.
Could be.
Maybe they just
I'll have to keep an eye on that one.
Maybe they've just given up like the rest of the cast has. They don't
Yeah.
give a shit anymore. That's why we have this
I don't
shit.
know though.
product.
The way that they're drumming up more interest in this watch
Say
party,
reunion, stop it. It's
watch party.
Oh.
Yeah, but like this information's coming from somewhere, and Bravo's got to be the one releasing it. This is telling me that there's still going to be another season next year, and they're not going to make any changes.
Oh, I
Like
disagree.
it's too volatile. Everybody's pissed at each other. We can't have them sit down in the same room together. We can have them sit in 2 rooms next to each other.
No, I don't think that they if they reboot this, it's going, or if they don't do something, it's going to be a disaster.
I saw something on Twitter that I'll use this question to kind of go into. From Severandazzo. Probably got that one wrong too. Fessler's doing a lot, but why was Rachel Fuda so angry that she was defending John? Everybody, obviously you know which side it's coming from, but they're saying they don't want anyone else talking about John because every time that it happened, which is ironic because this is what happened to Gia, but every time that we talk about John, we have to bring up his drug charges. people are saying that Rachel's getting annoyed at this because she doesn't want to have to keep talking about it because it's going to uncover more information and there's hidden stuff out there about John somewhere.
I don't think there's hidden stuff out there. I think that, yeah, that's part of it, is where it's like, let's stop talking about it so it stops coming up. I think another part of it is just simply, I'm going to be reactionary to this every single time because I'm mad and I'm going to storm off now because this is my thing.
Get it, though, because you can't have it both ways. You can't, assuming that this is what happens, you can't sit down with producers and say, we're going to take on a bigger role this year and have a sit down with Teresa and Louis and John and have John hold court with the whole conversation. And then when people are bringing him up 2 episodes later, you freak out about it.
Agreed. I agree.
Like, you can't have it both ways. He can't be a housewife and then not be talked about.
Them's his facts.
He can't sit outside and hold court with the boys and have a huge pivotal moment of the season talking about what happened and then not be talked about 2 episodes ago.
That's a good point.
Stupid. Kind of stupid. But yeah, honestly, every other question is pretty much just what the fuck is Fessler doing? Which
we don't know.
We don't know.
It's been wild to watch, honestly. But look, there's still like 3-4 episodes left of this bad boy, so hopefully they are able to put something together here. Maybe that watch party will somehow be electric. I think it's going to be horrible, but hey, like that. I'm not doing it.
We're gonna watch it.
We are going to watch it. I'm not going to keep bitching about it. Don't forget what.
Should we go to an Italian restaurant and watch it?
That would make me happier.
Okay.
Or you know what? Poppy wants to have the green pasta from Luca, which is pesto pasta.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do that. Because I got pesto basil growing in the garden. I'll make us all pesto pasta here, and we can watch it together in separate rooms.
I'll watch it here. You watch it in the front room?
Yeah, and we will. That'll be our nod to how they are watching it.
Okay.
Because we are artists at heart.
I like it. That's good.
But as we mentioned earlier in the episode, we are starting our exclusive episodes this week. Wednesday is our first one, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. If you want to be able to listen to that, you have to join Brav Bros member. So click the link in our bio or the link at the bottom of this episode description. Sign up, $5 for the month, $50 for the year. We also have our next community Zoom next week. It's going to be Tuesday night at 9 p.m., so we give our West Coasters time to get home. Or you can be like our fiddle-playing Irish band fiddler.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fiddler on the roof. Fiddler in the car.
Fiddler in the car. Janice?
No idea. I
don't
remember.
I think that was it. I'm not 100%. If I got your name wrong, I'll get it right next time. She plays in a Irish band, and she was coming back from a gig and joined the Zoom via her car. Just don't, be careful. Don't drive in Zoom.
Yeah.
Don't drive in Zoom. But join in on the fun next Tuesday, 9 o'clock. We had a blast last time. We're going to have a blast again this time. If you want to join that, if you want to be able to listen to our exclusive episodes, Brav Bros members, link in bio, click that, sign up. Brav Bros are out here.
Got a blast.
Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah.
Hey. Brav Bros are out here.